It's not like I've been living here for like 7 months or anything and still haven't finished this loft space, but today's the day I'm gonna finish it. So to rewind, I moved to Korea earlier on this year. I spent a lot of time here for work and I finally moved and I found this really cool apartment that I love. I am obsessed with this apartment. It is my one and only personality trait at this point. In Korea, it's quite common to have a loft apartment, especially if you're only one person. However, the usual layout of these apartments tends to have a bit more space in the loft area than mine does, and a bit less space downstairs. So mine's kind of a little bit topsy-turvy, but I like it because it gives me so much more living space and I don't really spend much time upstairs. That being said, my loft is minuscule. It's really teeny tiny. It's kind of cozy and cute, but for the longest time I didn't know what to do with it and I just haven't done anything with it, which is not a justifiable excuse, but there we go. So today I'm going to show you what I did to the space and how I've configured it, because yes, there is only one layout that we can configure in this space, because that is a super single bed and it will only fit in this one corner. I have tried to swing it around, it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all, but it's okay because I'm finally getting around to finishing it and it's looking super cozy and very cute. Let me show you what's currently going on in the loft, but I'm gonna warn you, it's a mess. I don't spend much time up there and I knew I was gonna be making it over today, so it's a mess. It's a mess. This is what we're working with and it's pretty bad right now. I do have a pink fan. What other colour would it be? Let's be honest. I have some big plans for up here and one of the main things I want to do is cover up the cubby hole here with some kind of curtain. I'm not going to put a clothing rail in here and use it for clothes because I have enough space downstairs. And honestly, coming up here just to get clothes is no. My suitcases can live there. And probably a Christmas tree when the season comes. The bed frame, I have already ordered some stuff to upcycle the bed. I'm gonna put something here so it hides the mess underneath and something at the back like a headboard. And oh boy, all of those cables need tidying up. If you're wondering what rubbish I keep under the bed, one box is craft supplies and the other box is pajamas, which is why I need some more storage. There are a few things in this space that I really wanted to tackle to make it feel a bit more like a homely, cozy environment. The main thing was this weird little alcove that is completely covered up by the bed frame. I also wanted to get some storage and do some cute little DIYs to cozy up this space. So I guess we should just jump right in. I can't pick this up. I don't know why I brought this over to show you. Oh, I can pick it up. This is what's going to be my bedside table. I've measured the space and it should fit perfectly, but I am going to have to take the legs off or cut them if I want to keep them. But the plan was always to not have the legs on it. Oh my god, it's even harder to get around with the camera in the way. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Much better. Ignoring the giant cubby hole in the back, this is looking good. You might remember this rug from my moving vlogs. I bought it in H&M on sale. It was really inexpensive and I bought it because it's huge. It's 250 by like 170 or 180. It's a really big rug. It's also really thin. So some of you suggested that it looked like it might be for a bed. It's not for a bed because it's way too big, but it's not very practical as a rug because it just gets bunched up and like wrinkly. So I'm gonna put it to good use today. Up in my loft, I have that little cubby hole where I store my suitcases, and I wanna cover that up and just give the back of the loft a bit more of a seamless look so that it just kind of covers the hole that I hate so much. That's the plan. So let's get cutting. Got some poorly drawn out measurements, but they're correct. That's the main thing. This thing is so big that I've had to fold it over before I cut it to make sure I'm gonna get as straight a line as possible, which I'm not holding my breath about because this thing is wonky. This is like 4 or 5 centimeters bigger and smaller in some places, so maybe that's why it was on sale. I don't know. I've sewn this thing. I bought some really strong foam tape and I'm just gonna stick it to the wall and hope for the best. I think it should work. I hope. Let's start with the tape. As for this light, just gonna remove the cover and then put the tapestry over the top of it. I don't like this light, it's very bright, so I don't turn it on anyway. I need to put that somewhere so I don't lose it. So I had plans to make the paneling go vertically, even though it meant a lot of cuts with the saw. But now I'm seeing it in person. I think I'm gonna do it horizontal because I can just slice it and it'll be so easy. See? It'll be so much easier. Hey buddy, what are you doing? Look at you go! Wow, what a day to be alive. I know I'm making a mess, but in my defense, I would much rather vacuum the rug than risk cutting the floor. Have I got lipstick on my... Yeah, I do. Oopsie! Tell me why I thought it would be a good idea to use a tiny foam brush to get in all of these cracks. This took me ages and I had to go to Daiso to buy a proper brush. Why didn't I do this in the first place? I did 3 coats of the white paint on both the top and the bottom sections, and I let them dry until it was time to adhere them to the bed frame. For this, I'm using construction adhesive, which seemed like a good idea at first because I thought it was going to be very strong. It is, it just takes a long time to dry. So I applied this to the whole bed frame and then patiently held this in place for about 30 minutes. The second mistake I made with this project is not having clamps, so I did waste quite a bit of time, but I went to Daiso and got some for the second part at the end of the bed, and that just made 30 minutes of my time better spent. But yeah, this is what it looks like.
I didn't have any clamps, so I had to get creative with holding this up, but it worked!
Hey, I am nothing if not resourceful, and those clips did work in the end. Here I am just cutting the piece for the end of the bed, which I couldn't show you me doing because that space was so tight up there, but just trust me, I added it. It's all good. Now it's time for something I haven't done in a while, some DIYs, and all of these hacks are DIY Daiso hacks, so maybe you'll be able to make things like this with things from your local budget store. So this first one is a sconce light, and for this I'm cutting into a plastic LED light bulb that I found in Daiso. Please exercise caution if you make this at home. I was hoping this would fit on top of this puck light that was remote controlled because I didn't want anything with a cable, but it didn't. It's okay though, because I ended up using this string of lights, which gave the light a nice warm orangey glow. So, you know, I can deal with the fact that it has a little string hanging down. But if you can find a puck light to fit, even better. I was going to apply it to this big board, but I thought it looked a bit out of place. So I put it on this smaller wooden board that I also got from Daiso. This was 3,000 won, so inexpensive. I used some tape to hold the wire of the lights in place so that you could have some free hands while I was gluing the rest of the light bulb down, for which I used all-purpose glue to do this. I just put it around the rim of the plastic light bulb and shoved it down on top of the wooden board. So easy, worked really well. Ta-da! Look at that. This is of course a renter-friendly hack, so to stick it on the wall I'm using some command strips and then I just literally plopped it straight onto the wall. I do wish the puck light had worked so this wouldn't have to have a wire, but at the end of the day I think it still looks good, and I think depending on what you can find in your local store you might be able to make it with a puck light or without. There are so many options. Anyway, let's move on to this cute little photo holder that's holding a picture of me and Haley, and I made this with items I found once again in Daiso. I had these chopstick holders that I bought a while ago for my chopsticks, but I wasn't using them, so I was like, I don't want these to go to waste, let's make them into something. So I thought to make them into this photo holder, and I tried some magnets to hold it together, but they were so bulky. In the end, the easiest and best solution was just to use a thick line of hot glue at the bottom of the ceramic piece, making sure that the top is completely left without glue, so it's completely open, and then I just sandwiched it together and it was dry immediately. I made this with 2 different types of ceramics and they both worked really well. You could make this with ceramic tiles or maybe some things that you find at the thrift store if you can't find these, but these were only 1,000 won each. What a bargain! Next, let's make this really cool lumbar pillow, again with something I found from Daiso. This is a bath mat. It was 5,000 won. When I got it home, I laid it face down on the floor and folded it end to end like so that it was touching in the middle lengthways, and then I just used an invisible stitch to stitch it all the way down the center and at one of the ends. I'll give you a close-up of this stitch in a minute so you can see what I'm doing, but basically I'm doing one stitch on one side and then another on the other side, slightly underneath where each of the pieces are going to be touching so that it's invisible. And then I pull it tight and it brings the fabric together. I did this the whole way down and it worked really well, and it was a very secure and strong stitch. After stitching the length of the cushion and one of the ends, I was ready to stuff it, and for this I bought another pillow from Daiso and I used almost all of the stuffing from this and I really rammed it into this cushion cover. There is a piece of fluff hanging on my arm. Get off. Once you've finished stuffing your cushion, you can then sew the open end shut, and there you have it, a completed lumbar pillow. The tapestry, it works, but the foam tape hasn't been the best. This has been up for a while, I'm not gonna lie. I did this like 2 months ago. I'm gonna put some tiny pins in it. Don't tell my building management, please. I will cover this up when it's done. Can you see what I'm doing? Probably not. Okay. It's okay. It's not the best, but it's better than what was here before. Okay, now that that is completely secure, it's time to style the room, and I'm starting with the bedding. I bought this gorgeous bedding from H&M and I love it so much. The only problem is my bed, although it looks like a small double, it's called a super single. So it only comes with one cushion cover, which is so annoying. So I'm trying the Scandinavian method here, except I'm not using the 2 duvets for this one. But I've seen this a lot on Pinterest and Instagram where you mix and match the pillowcases and the covers. I don't know, I think it looks good. It adds a pop of colour to a small space that's quite empty, but you tell me in the comments below, would you try it or not? I also put a piece of wrapping paper that I brought back from the UK from Oliver Bonus into this frame to put it next to the bed for another pop of colour. And all that there was left to do was put everything in its place. We're finally at the end of the video, so let me show you the reveal of the space. This is what the loft is looking like. For what is a very awkward and tiny space, I think I've done really well to make it cozy and livable. And I'm really pleased that I covered up that creepy little storage space at the back. It's looking so much better. I love that I was able to incorporate a lot of color into this space using the cushions and the other pieces that I have styled here. But I really like that it's mostly white because it makes the space feel as big as I can possibly make it feel. Because once again, it's really tiny. Have I mentioned that before? I don't know. Anyway, that's my loft. A small loft like this isn't for everyone, but I'm so pleased that it's mine and that I have such a cool apartment. I love it here and I'm glad I could finally make it into my home. So that is it for my loft video. I finally finished it. I really enjoyed this project. I was putting it off for way too long and I'm glad there is a piece of fluff. Go away. And I'm glad it's finally finished. It's cozy, it's cute, and it's got the kind of Hermione touch that says, hey, I live here, which is just what I wanted. I don't really spend much time up there anyway, so I just want it to be functional and mildly aesthetic. But there we go, that's my loft. I feel like this kind of wraps up a little bit of what I've been doing with my apartment, but there's a lot of things that I would like to do to help some of my friends. So if you want to see more decorating videos, please subscribe. Follow my other social medias, TikTok, Instagram, etc. And this is probably not the end of my apartment journey because I might move to a different one after 1 year. I want to try living in different places and see what different areas are like. So that's something I've been thinking about, but maybe not. I don't know. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great day and I'll see you next time. Bye.